Alrighty, looks like it is preparing for the live stream. Let's see what happens here. We have been having some problems with the live streaming service for some reason, and I should have put more time into trying to figure out the tech on that, but I just didn't have time. So I'm just going to hope that it works today. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. We'll still have a nice meeting. And let's see who's here. Let me take a look. And while I've got the Zoom open, but we're still a little bit early. We're just a couple of minutes out. So if you're just starting to join us, just hang on for just a couple of minutes while I take care of the tech on the back end here. There we go. Looks like it is working. Very good. So I'm just going to go ahead and double check while we're waiting. And hi, Samantha. Feel free to unmute and say hi. We're just a very informal group here. Or if you want to be shy and hang out in the background, that's sure fine too. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable.
Hello.
Hi, Samantha. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you as well.
Awesome. Where are you from? I hear a twang.
Oxford, Alabama.
Oxford, Alabama. You know, my granddaughter wants to move to Alabama. She's got some friends down there.
What part of Alabama?
I don't know. They haven't decided yet. She just has some friends, and they want to go down there, and they want to get their own place and the whole bit. So I don't really know town.
It's a beautiful place.
I know, but the only problem, Samantha, is I'm too far away from Grandma. I'm in San Diego.
Yes, that would be way too far.
It's too far. So I'm like,
absolutely.
Do I have to move? Like, what is it?
Yeah, Grandma just have to move with her.
Well, I don't know. That would be really hard. I can't leave.
Sure.
Yeah, I gotta stay here because I love my church. I've got the best church in the world. So I don't think
that's awesome. What church is it?
It's called Mountain View. And it's in our little town of Ramona here in California. We live like kind of up in the mountains, kind of in goat country, right? Farm country. And it's a really pretty area. Yeah.
We have a mountain view here as well. Of course, I'm sure there's many, but that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I love my church. And I see that, is it Michelle or is it Michael? The way it's spelled, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but feel free to unmute and talk to us here. We're just a really informal group. We're usually a small little group here so that I can answer people's questions.
It's Michelle.
Michelle. Hi, Michelle. How are you? I'm Tori.
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, there's a couple of people that I've been conversing with on Facebook, but there's so many names that I'm sorry, I forget. But are you one of the persons that I was talking to, or is that someone else?
Probably someone else.
Okay. All right. Well, good that I'm talking to you today then. I'm here for you today. So, all right. So if you guys will just give me a quick minute, I just need to check the tech and just make sure that it's working over in the areas where it's supposed to be working. So give me just a moment. And then we'll get started. Well, I don't see it where it's supposed to be. Bear with me. Let me take care of this. Okay, there we go. I see it there. So that's good. We got it. Right. So now I can just go right there and do what I need to do. Just have to grab a link real quick. Make sure people have the link that they need. And then I'll be right back with you guys. And probably people, I know a lot of people just watch the live stream and then people will watch the video afterward as well. So we're probably going to have people dropping in and out as we go. And let's see, I need to do this. There we go. And then I have to go back over to Facebook. This. And I'll be right back with you guys. There we go. Oops. Didn't grab the link. One more time. There it is. Got it. The tech on the back end is fun. Have you guys ever run a live stream on Facebook before? It is like, there's so many, like hundreds of little buttons you have to remember, and then you have to monitor it the whole time while you're talking to people. It is fun. Here we go. Yeah. Got it. There we go. Okay. All right. So now I can come back and we can go ahead and get the meeting started. And so it's really nice to meet you, Samantha and Michelle, and other people are going to start joining in here. And what I would love to do today is just have like an informal talk, right? And just talk about the latest science, what you can do for your health. If you feel comfortable, please feel free to open up and share about your own personal health issues, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, whatever you feel comfortable with. I just want to make sure that I'm here to serve you today, and that I help you to understand that you're not stuck with your health issues. No matter what you've been taught, the old school stuff is completely different than the new science. And the new science, there is so much more that you can do to really help yourself to feel better. And so that's what precision medicine is all about. And that's what we do here. That's how I personally healed, and all of our clients are healing that way. And we're part of a group of thousands of other scientists and doctors and health professionals, nurse practitioners, all of the above. And we're part of a group of people who, like, we know the latest science. We know that it works. We've either healed ourselves or we have helped other people to heal, or our family members, right? And so this is a large group. There's literally thousands of people in this group, and these are doctors and scientists who are changing their practices. They're coming away from the old school insurance model, pharmaceutically based, just symptom down care, right? That doesn't really work for chronic illnesses. We know that chronic illnesses, they just get worse and worse over time. And the more medicine you throw at them, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get worse and worse over time. You're just managing symptoms. You're really not doing anything about the underlying root cause. And that's what medicine is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be working on whatever caused the problem in the first place. But unfortunately, in conventional medicine, we've come a long way away from that, especially when it comes to chronic illness or autoimmune disease. And so precision medicine is the latest science. It promises to get us back down to the root cause where we belong. And that just makes sense, doesn't it? Like, isn't that just logical that you want to work on whatever caused the problem in the first place, right? So precision medicine has to do with a lot of different things, because there's so many different ways that we can screw up our health, right? And Michelle says yes, right? It makes sense. We can screw up our health just by living in America, just by eating the normal grocery store food. It's loaded with stuff that is not really food, right? But yet we grow up with this and we eat it every day. We grow up on chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese and McDonald's and is it any wonder why we're all sick, right? That's not food. It doesn't really feed our cells like it should, right? So that's one way, right? When your cells don't have everything they need, of course, you're going to be sick, right? But what about our lifestyle practices? What about the fact that we push ourselves too hard and we're under massive amounts of stress and we have very high expectations of ourselves that we can't possibly meet, and we don't sleep right, and and then our relationships aren't as great as they should be, and wow, that's a whole nother side of it. But those two things people usually think of as, oh, that's functional medicine, that's precision medicine, that's all it is just your diet and lifestyle. And that is so far from the truth, it's not even funny. So I'm here to tell you that that's just the basic ground rules of functional and precision medicine. The rest of it is doing the precision testing so that you can find exactly what's wrong. And then you can literally take hold of whatever that is that's wrong, and you can learn how to fix it so that then you're in control again. And then you're no longer afraid of your symptoms and you're no longer being controlled, right? You are now in the driver's seat. And that's how I got well. And that's how you're going to get well if you choose to do that. Of course, what a lot of people do is they choose to just, the doctor says that I should just take this medicine, so I guess that's what I have to do. I don't have a choice, right? And this is the mindset that most of us have. And, I'm a scientist myself, and I'm an autoimmune disease specialist. And yet when I got autoimmune diseases, I was stuck in that mindset too, right? Because that's all I knew, right? Because that's the way we're all raised under the conventional paradigm that, okay, well, if you get sick, you go to the doctor gives you a pill, you take it. If it doesn't work, he gives you another pill. Sometimes those pills give you more symptoms, so then you need another pill. And once you get started on that roller coaster, you're kind of a mess, right? But so we're all afraid of getting sick because we know that's going to happen, right? So we try to keep ourselves healthy, but we don't really know what we're doing, okay? Like Samantha and Michelle, have either of you had a full genetics test? Do either of you know your genetic predispositions yet? And you can answer in the chat, or Michelle says no. Samantha says no, right? Now I'll tell you, the new babies that are born in my church, I want to give them this special, it's kind of expensive, but that's my gift to the parents for the babies being born. Nowadays, we can take a brand new baby, we can look at their genetics, and we can help them to be healthy for the rest of their lives, mostly healthy. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100%, but wow, if you know a person's genetic predispositions and you teach people how to overcome those genetic issues so that they can be healthier, of course they're going to be healthier, So this is not rocket science. It's just good science, right? It's just that conventional medicine doesn't really use it yet. mean, they're just starting to test people for things like the TNF alpha gene or the APOE gene, or, they're just starting to test people for these things. But then, like, I have people coming to my office who say, yeah, the doctor told me that I have MTHFR. I guess I'm screwed. I can't detox anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not true at all. Like, all we have to do is teach you how to overcome that genetic predisposition with your lifestyle practices or your supplements or whatever, right? And then you're good to go. Of course you can detox. If you weren't detoxing, you'd be dead. Right? And so this is how we learn to heal, is by learning these things. And it really does start with the genetics, because that's your bottom line, right? You're not going to change your genes, but you are going to change the way they express, right? So I want to give you guys like a really good example of that. So me personally, when you look at my genes, oh my gosh, they're a mess. And that's why I was able to get sick. And I was 12 years old when I started having a lot of my symptoms, right? But of course, nobody knew. Okay. Now, one of my bad genes, just one of them, is a problem with absorbing and utilizing vitamin D, which is a hormone. It's a very important hormone that has receptors on every cell in our body. And if you don't get enough vitamin D, you will most likely become a chronic illness patient, right? That's the correlation between vitamin D and autoimmune disease or heart disease or diabetes or any of the major known chronic illnesses is huge, okay? So most people that we see coming through our clinic here have very low vitamin D. And when we check their genetics, we see that, oh boy, this is a problem they've had their entire life. It's no wonder they eventually developed a chronic illness, right? Now, what if you do that genetic test and you see that, oh, you got this problem with vitamin D, and then you look at your vitamin D and you go, wow, my vitamin D is a 9. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's supposed to be a 70. Now you know that for the rest of your life, just you getting enough sunlight is not going to be enough for you, because your genetics say you have to overcome this genetic predisposition. How do you do that? Well, it's real simple. You buy a $15 little bottle of vitamin D3, and you make sure that it's got some K2 in it so you can absorb it better, because those genetics aren't working that great. So you got to make sure that you have those little biochemicals working right. And then you also will probably need like another little supplement that's got some kind of minerals in it. Make sure that you keep your magnesium up, right? And if you do that, just those little things, you are going to overcome that genetic predisposition, because you're giving your body a little extra because your body doesn't have enough. And so now you can keep your vitamin D, right up there at 60, 70, where it belongs. And your body, your cells will function much better because of that. Right? So does that make sense to you guys when I give you an example like that? I hope so. I hope that's a yes.
Yes, my vitamin D's never been even close to that. It's always low.
Of course it
I
is.
don't know that it's ever been above 30, 35.
I know. And a doctor will tell you that if it's 30, you're perfectly fine. And what we know now, like the top vitamin D scientists in the world today, will tell you, oh my gosh, we have really made mistakes with this when we're telling people that 30 is normal, because really 60 to 80 is normal. That's where the cells are really happy. Right now, you can still live at 30, but is it normal? Is it optimal? No way. No way. And it's one of the reasons why people will eventually develop some other sort of chronic disease, because of that long-term not enough vitamin D, right? Now imagine if you took a look at your genetics and you see that, wow, like me, okay, like I was that person who was sick from the time I was 12 years old, and all kinds of problems, right? And then completely fell out by the time I was 30 something. Why? Because my genetics are a mess. I don't utilize vitamin D. I've got problems with folate. I've got problems with B12. I've got other major, like a glutathione deletion and all these things that you guys probably don't care about. But literally, I've got a whole bunch of things that I have to fix, right? And so for me, like my daily life, in order to be healthy again, like I am right now, and it's worth it, trust me, my daily life consists of overcoming those genetic problems, right? Takes me about a half an hour a day, probably at the most, right? Just making sure that I get these normal supplements and that I eat certain things and that I make sure that I'm getting some exercise and sitting out in the sun, and I'm overcoming those genetic predispositions by choosing to love myself and give myself the time and the money, because I gotta pay for some extra supplements in order to do that, right? But I'm alive today because of it. So is it worth it? Yeah, it is so worth it. Right? I can take care of my granddaughter now. I can, right? I can do anything again now. Where I used to be stuck on the couch and never knowing if I could go to church or not. And I was on a cocktail of anywhere from 12 to 20 medications. That's crazy. But that's how I live.
Do you do biofeedback?
Biofeedback is amazing. And it's one of the things that really helps people with that stress side of things. And it also helps you to really get in tune with your body, right? To really know what's going on with my body and how can I really control the symptoms. So I am a great fan of biofeedback.
I did a biofeedback the other day, and I think I look like a train wreck.
Aww.
My results. Of course, I do have a lot of autoimmune. I have a ton of autoimmune.
Hey, what's Samantha?
I have 2 ruptured discs. I have psoriatic arthritis. I have diabetes. I have fibromyalgia. Of course, low vitamin D. I had a hysterectomy at 27 due to endometriosis. I
Okay, so
have.
you need your
Did I? I'm not.
PCO on there. Okay. All right.
I don't know if I said I have dysautonomia and mitral valve. Like I said, a lot going on. Narcolepsy. Yeah, it's tough.
That is tough. Okay. So, Samantha, what I would do for you is right off the bat, I want to see your genetics, number one. Okay, but that's easy. I want to really get down deep, and I want to see a test called a Nutra Eval. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so. What is that?
Okay. So what that is it's one of the newer precision functional medicine tests. It's what's known as the gold standard of precision testing. It's about $500 wholesale. Okay, now a little more, if you pay for the analyzation and all of that, but wholesale it's about $500. And so that really does sound like a lot of money, right? That's a monthly car payment right there.
Absolutely.
Right? But what you're getting for that will literally save your life. It can literally turn your life around, right? And people just don't know that. And that's what is so like, I want to get up and jump up and down and tell people, wow, you guys, just this one test can make such a difference in your life, because it's going to tell you how your brain is working and how the different neurochemicals in your brain, whether they're, right or wrong, it's going to everything from the head down. It's going to tell you your gut health. It's going to tell you your inflammation and your immune health. It's going to tell you all of your nutrient status for your cells and how your cells are working, whether your cells are expressing properly, whether you're absorbing and digesting your food properly. I mean, your inflammatory markers, like everything, every little thing that you can think of for basic cellular functioning is on this test. And the reason why we care about cellular functioning is because, like, think of it this way. If you were going to build a house, right, you better have enough nails, you better have enough plywood, or, you know, whatever you need, okay? You better have all those things. Otherwise, your cells are not going to work right. And that is going to look like 100 different symptoms in the body, okay? So, you know, you probably hear about this on the internet all the time. It's true. In order to get healthy, you've got to get down to the cellular and the genetic level. You've got to see what your cells are missing, and then you've got to give them back what they're missing, because that's why we have an epidemic of chronic illness and autoimmune disease nobody's really doing anything about, except your precision doctors out there, because we absolutely have to do the testing, get to the bottom line of what's wrong, and fix it right there. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm very overweight. I'm aware of that. And I went to see a new arthritis doctor, and her first greeting to me was not, "Hey, I'm so-and-so," or whatever, "nice to meet you." It was, "Have you talked to your GP about weight loss surgery?" And I looked
Oh,
at her and I said, "I'm not a candidate for weight loss surgery." I said, first of all, my
girl,
insurance doesn't pay for it. And second of all, I've got a lot more going on than just this. I mean, I
amen.
don't have a thyroid, and my inflammation markers were, it was like 0 to 40, and mine was 82. And I'm on Skyrizi right now for my psoriatic arthritis, but I got bit by a spider last week. It's been almost over 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness,
So,
that's a last thing you needed.
I mean, it was bad. So I've been on all kinds of antibiotics
Mhm.
to clear the spider bite up,
It's
because it
just
was
making everything worse.
making it worse. So I couldn't take my Skyrizi. And, you know, I'd been going to another arthritis doctor, and she's the one that put me on the Skyrizi. And this doctor was like, "I want to take x-rays of this, this, and this." And she never would return my call. She never would. Finally, she's like, I called the administrator, and I'm like, "Look, I don't know what's going on, but I've got swelling major in my legs and feet. I cannot only get certain pairs of shoes on." And I said, "I can't even get her to return my call." So she called me back and she said, "Well, I'm waiting on the administrator said, well, she's waiting on your test." And I said, "Well, nobody's called me about the sonogram or the x-rays. I haven't received any notice for anybody." And she goes,
Yeah.
oh, well, they haven't been ordered."
Oh no,
Really?
I'm so
And
sorry.
she's
Samantha,
like,
can I interrupt you for a minute? Because you know, I'm a root cause person, right? So when I hear what you're saying, I know how to jump to the root cause for you, right? And everything that those doctors are doing, they're literally testing you from the top down. They're just looking to see what's wrong by looking at, you know, at even your blood work. They're just looking to see what's wrong from the top down. None of those types of tests are doing anything about the root cause. None of those types of tests are getting to the cellular level, to the genetic level, and really fixing what's wrong there. Because I don't care what medicine they give you, I don't care what they do, what surgery they do, your body is in an inflammatory freaking mess, right? You are not
absolutely.
that with those medications. You are actually only going to make it worse in the long run. You might help some symptoms over here in the short run, but it will actually make things worse in the long run, because every single one of those medications is actually making your cellular functioning worse, right? And so what we have to do as you know, and whenever there's doctors or scientists listening, we know we've got to get to the cellular level. It's just that medical schools, some things you can do like that that you're learning in medical school, but Yeah, most of it, no. It's all about do the test, find out what's wrong, give the diagnosis, and then give a pharmaceutical or a surgery to fix it. And I'm sorry, but that's doing nothing about the underlying root cause in the first place, and that's your inflammation. And I want to take you and I want to walk you through, even though I don't know your past, Samantha, I want to just do this as an example, if you'll let me, if it's okay. Is it okay with
Yes.
you?
Yes, ma'am.
So you told me that, wow, all I heard, and that's all I needed to hear, was that you had a hysterectomy when you were a very young woman. Okay. And you said because of endometriosis. Now, I know that that started back when you were a teenager, and it started with what's called insulin resistance. Okay. Insulin resistance is where we're eating the standard American diet. We're eating, normal stuff, fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and, right? And hamburgers and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. And we're creating a problem called insulin resistance. Now, insulin resistance causes us to gain weight. It also causes us to have major cellular dysfunction, especially with our hormones. Okay. And then now you've got this thing called PCOS, where I'll bet your periods were kind of screwy too, right?
They
And
were horrible. I would
hello,
be out of school for 2 days a month because
hello.
I was so sick.
Yeah. Okay. So what really caused it was way back when, with as sad as this is, it's a sad American diet, standard American diet, right? But you didn't know any better. And I'm sure you've got a bunch of different genetic things that really, if you hadn't eaten that way, you might have been okay, but you didn't know any better, right? No one teaches us these things. And so, it's one thing that, that we really want to do as precision doctors and scientists. We want to start doing, things in schools so we can teach kids how to take care of themselves better, right? But you didn't know. I didn't know when I got sick either, right? So then what happens by the time you're a very young woman, you have to have a hysterectomy because your hormones are so bad that they're producing endometriosis. Now, endometriosis also has often, not always, but often has a genetic component as well. And it has to do with your body being able to get rid of estrogens properly. So women, we have estrogens, men have estrogens too, but women, we have a lot of estrogen. And it's supposed to be balanced. And you've got genes that make these little enzymes that get rid of it once you use it. Well, some of us have some genes that mean that we don't get rid of our estrogens like we should. And what does it mean? It means PCOS. It means weight gain. It means really bad periods. It means endometriosis, right? And what's worse is it doesn't end there, okay? That whole problem creates so much inflammation in the body all by itself. All by itself. It creates so much inflammation that now you're having a thyroid issue, right? Then you're having gut issues. Then you're having arthritis and pain all over, okay? And you see how these things snowball into now your poor body is just like, oh my gosh, you feel like there's so many things wrong. You feel like a hypochondriac. You feel like there's nothing you can do. And you feel like I heard you say loud and clear with that story that you told about your doctor. I heard you say loud and clear that no one's really taking care of you. No one's really listening to you and really helping you to feel better. Right?
I feel like nobody cares. You go to a doctor and you're just a number and wham bam, let's get you out of here. And I mean, I have tons of medications, tons of medications. And
I
I
was
just,
that too.
ma'am,
I was that person too. So I
I
know.
mean, it's sad. I
Yeah.
just, you feel like like I said, no one cares.
Yeah, but
And
we
if
do though. There's a whole group of people like us who have been through what you've been through, and right? And we've turned it all around. And we really do care. And that's the mission that God gave us, is to just come on meetings like this, even if there's only a few people there, it doesn't matter. We know that God is bringing us the people that need to hear the truth. And you can get well, Samantha. You can get off the medication. You can naturally lose the weight. And please do not listen to your doctors. I'm sorry. I know someone's going to get mad at me for saying this, but do not do a lap band or one of these weight loss surgeries. My God, you're completely screwing up your gut health when you do that. And that's part of your problem, is because your gut is a mess, right? And so why would you do a surgery to make it worse just to get you to lose a little weight? Because it's not going to work that great anyway. Okay. I have plenty of friends at church, like 3 different people I know at church who have had that surgery done. They still have major inflammatory problems. It did not do anything about the root cause of your problem, right? But you're looking at me, okay? Now, I don't know, you guys can't really see, you can't really see, my weight, but okay, it's pretty good. So I was 100 pounds heavier. That's a fact. I was on a cocktail of anywhere between 12 to 20 medications a day. I can't even begin to tell you all the symptoms that I had, just like you, Samantha. I have arthritis in pretty much all the joints in my body, but it no longer bothers me because I'm able to get that inflammation down now. I even have a toe that's like completely crooked because the arthritis just took it, literally. I had migraines my whole life. I had PCOS. I had arthritis. I wound up developing lupus, scleroderma, fatty liver disease. I could go on and on. Okay. So what you're describing, Samantha, was like my life, only yours is just a little bit different than mine, but they're all pretty much the same. Chronic illness is chronic illness, and how it affects you is just your genetics compared to my genetics. But we're all a mess. We all have a million symptoms. We all feel like no one's listening to us. No one's really caring. All they do is just throw more medication at us, and we just continue to live these lives that are basically not the lives that God created us to live.
I don't sleep at night, and I'm in so much pain. I have to use a walker, and I can't walk very far at all because of my back pain. And
Samantha, I
I
couldn't even do the dishes when I was sick, because if I stood for any length of time, I could not stand in one place.
Me neither.
Yeah, I couldn't. I literally, and I would try, and I would get like maybe 5 minutes of dishes done, and I couldn't finish the job, and I'd have to go sit back down. Right? I know
that's
how that
exactly
feels.
the way I am.
Yeah, I know. Okay, and you're not alone. Okay, the hundreds of thousands of people are running around like that right now. Millions probably are running around like that right now, because we're all in the same boat. No one has taught us how to take care of our genetics. No one has taught us how to take care of ourselves. No doctor is really helping us at the root cause level. Okay. We're not taught about toxins. We're not taught about detoxing. We're not taught about how to take care of our gut health. None of us were taught that. And so, we're a walking mess until we learn how to fix it. Okay. And this is where I want to get positive, because we can talk about the negative of chronic illness all day long, and we can go on Facebook groups and we can commiserate about how bad everything is all day long, right? But the bottom line is, you can fix this. And I am a living, walking example of someone who went from 20 medications a day to none. Someone who lost 100 pounds naturally, someone who reversed fatty liver disease, reversed scleroderma, reversed lupus, reversed my brain fog, reversed my migraines, reversed all the mess that was going on in my body, right? And do I still have some things to work on? Sure. Yeah. My specialists consider me about 95% healed now. And I'd say that's pretty darn good, right? Now, if the latest science can take you, Samantha, or you, Michelle, from wherever you're at to even what if you only got 60% better? Do you think that would change your life?
Oh, I'm sure it would.
Hello? Yeah. And what if you got 70% better? Right? And Michelle says, yeah, she's 80 pounds overweight. Yeah. And RA, fibro, IBS, chronic fatigue, all of this stuff. Okay. This is what you guys are describing. You guys are not alone. This is the chronic illness community. This is what we all feel. We all feel like we have been given label after label after label and medication after medication after medication, but we're still walking around sick as dogs. Now, is that right? That's not right. That's not good medicine. That's not good science, right? But the science is so clear, you guys. I mean, and you can go read this for yourself. You can go to PubMed if you know how to read science journals. You can go to PubMed and you can see that when people do precision or functional medicine, they get amazingly better, right? And there's multiple studies that have been done. And it's not rocket science. I know I repeat myself, but it's not rocket science. It's all about, if you know your genetics and you can overcome those problems, then of course you're going to get a little better. And then if you know your cellular dysfunctions, you know what's wrong there, and you know that, oh, well, I don't have enough vitamin D and I don't have enough B12, and gee, I've got way too many toxins, I've got heavy metals, or maybe I've got Lyme disease, or maybe I have, an Epstein-Barr virus that's going chronic on me, right? Those are all creating toxins, which are also creating chronic inflammation. And your chronic inflammation, science knows, 600,000 research studies cannot be wrong, okay? It all boils down to your chronic inflammation. And so what we do in precision and functional medicine is we find the reasons for your inflammation at the root cause, at the bottom level. So you got a genetic problem with vitamin D, fix it. You got a genetic problem with your B12 or with your ability to detox, fix it. You got a bunch of heavy metals on board that your body can't get rid of, fix it. Get rid of that. You got some, chronic gut bugs going on there. You got overgrowth of this and not enough of that. Fix it. Take control of it. Do the work, right? The only thing stopping you guys from being me and being amazingly better is your choices to be willing to do the work, right? Because nothing can stop you if you really want to get well. Nothing can stop you. Not lack of money, not time, not anything. Nothing can stop you if you choose to make the choice to work with someone who will actually get to the bottom line for you. Even if you're like me, like I had lost my science career for a while. I was broke. I was on Social Security disability. Okay, I was as messed up as you can be. Okay, financially, health-wise, all of that. Okay. And yes, because I didn't have enough money, I had to borrow some to pay for testing, and I had to knit and crochet, and then pull together $300 and then give it to the doctor so she can do something else for me, or so I could buy this supplement over here to try to fix this thing, right? And so the way I had to do it was, kind of hodgepodge, because we didn't have medical funding back then, right? At least if we did, I didn't know about it. And so I had to kind of pull money from here, and I had to my sister had to help me over there, and I had to do things. But you see, I was determined. If there was a scientific way for me to heal, and I could see that, right? Once I saw that there was a scientific way for me to heal, nothing was going to stop me from doing it. Nothing was going to stop me from doing it. And so I didn't let excuses get in the way. I didn't let my own stupid mindset get in the way. And trust me, I had a lot of stupid mindset things, like, oh, I'm too sick. I'm too far gone. There's nothing I can do. I'm just going to die anyway. Oh, my doctor said I was incurable, so therefore I must be. Bull. Okay. Look at me now. Look at me now. Okay. And I think you guys can see that I'm a real human being. I'm, not a salesperson. I'm probably the suckiest salesperson in the world. I'm just a scientist who went through a really horrible time in her life. And the Lord taught me the new science and showed me that there were lots of other people doing it too. I just didn't know about it. And once I learned, sorry about the dogs in the background. Once I learned, now look, okay, my entire life has changed. And so now I've joined all these other scientists and doctors who we're all doing the same thing. We're all getting out there and talking to just regular people like you guys and putting it out on Facebook and putting it out wherever people will listen, that look, you really do have a choice. You don't have to just be stuck where you're at. You honestly do have a choice. There are things that you can do. And thank God we have medical funding now, because we've got, sorry, there's crazy stuff going on in the background here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm sorry. I've got family members coming home from work, and so they're being loud. Sorry. It's hilarious here. We've got dogs out in the yard. We've got people yelling, don't let the dogs out. Normal family life. So I get to work at home. I get to run this awesome company that God created from my home. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And, we've got this beautiful team of people here. Almost everyone on my team has been through some major chronic illness like me. No one's quite as bad as me, but my health strategist is pretty close. She had Lyme disease and Babesia, and it created really bad scleroderma in her. And she was told the same thing. She was told that she was, that she was just going to die young, and that there was basically nothing she could do except take all this medication to try to slow it down. She was told the same thing that I was told, right? And now, I mean, if you guys ever talk to my health strategist, she's on vacation this week, so I can't talk to her this week. But next week when she comes back, she will tell you some hair-raising stories about the craziness that she went through with her health. And now she describes herself as being like 70% better. Right? She's still working on it. There's still things that she has to do. But she's doing great. Right? And so
what illnesses did you have?
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So first of all, I'm going to tell you that it doesn't matter, because inflammation is inflammation. That's the bottom line. Okay. And there are root causes to the inflammation. So my illnesses, the way it expressed in me is just the way my genes are. My genes took inflammation and took those root causes and turned them into scleroderma, lupus, which those are like two of the worst autoimmune diseases that you can have. They gave me tons of prednisone, which then gave me Addison's disease. So I didn't have to have Addison's disease, but it's all the prednisone that they gave me to slow down the autoimmune disease that caused the Addison's disease. Okay. I had severe arthritis all over my body, and truth be known, I still do, because those tissues don't heal very fast. Like, all the other tissues, your thyroid can heal, your gut can heal, all those soft tissues can heal, but those harder tissues, the joint and the bone, they get better. You feel better because you get the inflammation to go away. So you don't have the pain. But when they check me every year with the ultrasound, they can still see that there's a lot of damage still. It just doesn't hurt. It doesn't limit me anymore like it used to. Okay, so the arthritis, I had polymyositis, which is an autoimmune disease of the muscles. And so literally like every tissue in my body was being attacked. I had thyroid disease. Dang, I can't even remember if that's 7 or not. I had severe fibromyalgia. I mean, and these are just the things that they named me with. Okay. But here's what I want you to hear. It doesn't matter what my diseases were and whether my diseases match your diseases and therefore we can help you. Okay, because that's what people think. They think, oh, well, if she had fibromyalgia and I have fibromyalgia, then maybe she can help me. Or if she really works with a lot of people with fibromyalgia, then if then I have fibromyalgia, then she can help me. Okay, I want you to take that and throw it in the trash because that's not the scientific truth. The scientific truth is we have to find your root causes. Okay, so let's go deeper than the name of your disease. The name of your disease is up here. Okay, the symptoms of your disease are up here. The fatty liver, the PCOS, the endometriosis, the weight gain, the insulin resistance, all of that is up here. Okay, what we need to do is we need to get down here. Okay, down here, what were the reasons that caused all of my disease? Well, for one thing, I have genetics that say I shouldn't be eating gluten at all. I have genes that lead towards celiac disease. But I was raised on bread and pasta and chicken nuggets and okay. And I loved my bread. I had to have it every day. It was one of my favorite treats. At night, I always had to have a quesadilla. Okay, like every night of my life. Okay. And here I was having genes that led towards celiac disease. And I was eating gluten every day of my life. That causes a major amount of inflammation, wouldn't you say? Inflammation causes illness. Inflammation causes tissue damage. Inflammation causes your fibromyalgia, right? And so do you see how that bottom line, you have to find those things, right? So sadly, I had, and Michelle says, yeah, it does. It makes sense. Of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. So the bummer is that in order for me to fix a lot of my inflammation, not all of it, there were other things I'm going to tell you in a minute. But in order to fix my inflammation, I had to give up gluten 100%, not just 90%, not just 95%. When you have celiac genes, you don't have a choice. You have to give up your gluten 100%. No farting around. How much can I tell you that sucks, you guys? Okay. But I'm living today because I was willing to make that sacrifice. So is it worth it? Yeah. And I make the joke all the time that, it might be a sacrifice now, but when I get to heaven, I know that Jesus said he's going to have a banquet for me. He's going to make me a mansion and he's going to have a banquet for me, right? And I tell Jesus all the time, there better be a bunch of good French bread there because the minute I'm going to be eating that French bread. But right now I can't. I have to give that up in order to be healthy, right? Another one of my root causes was a mycoplasma infection that had gone chronic since the time we figured out it was probably since the time I was a teenager, because that's when I first started having the symptoms that kind of match a mycoplasma infection. Mycoplasmas release a ton of toxins, and then they're just living chronically in your body and your immune system can't completely get control. You won't have full-blown pneumonia, right? That's mycoplasma that is really completely acutely grown out of control. Okay. But what happens is if you have mycoplasma, you get exposed to it, you have that pneumonia and it doesn't go away. It just, your pneumonia goes away, but that bug itself, your immune system gets control of it enough so that you don't walk around with pneumonia anymore, but it's still creating a toxic mess in your body at a very low level. And it's high enough that if that continues day after day, year after year, year after year, year after year, it will start to damage your tissue. And then you'll start to have things like autoimmune disease because those toxins land in your tissues and they're stuck there. And the immune system says, well, dang, I can't have toxins in my thyroid. I better start creating thyroid antibodies so that I can attack those tissues and get rid of those toxins, right? This is the latest science. It's not, autoimmune disease is not your body going rogue and your immune system just freaking out for no reason. I mean, God created you with a very intelligent immune system that scientists still can't completely figure out yet. And I'm an immunologist, so I'm telling you the truth. We don't know it all. We just don't. All right. This is how sophisticated your immune system is. God created it. He knew what he was doing. And your immune system is intelligent. And if it's attacking your tissue for some reason, it's not for no reason. It's because there are toxins in your tissue that the immune system sees and has to get rid of. And so then it's destroying your own thyroid. But why? Because you don't even know that that mycoplasma is there. Right? But a good precision medical person can do the test, see the mycoplasma, and then give you the correct protocols to help you get rid of it. Okay. And so that's one of the ways that I got well, is I had to find that mycoplasma, get rid of it. And of course, I didn't do this by myself. I had a lot of help back then, right? Had to get rid of it. Okay. I had to stop eating things that were inflammatory, like my normal diet that I ate because I was sick all the time. So I didn't care. Right now, even though I drank a smoothie and I like to get my little green drink and I like to, because I thought that that was making me healthy. And I thought that I could continue to eat M&Ms and ice cream and, you know, Cheerios for breakfast. And I thought I could get away with that because I had my little scoop that I put in my drink every day. Wow, what an idiot. And I'm a scientist, okay? So I can get away with calling myself an idiot because that was pretty dumb. Not knowing that my cells needed so much more than that. Not knowing that, no, you can't get away with eating tons of crap and sugar every day. Of course you can't, right? But man, Samantha and Michelle, one of my friends once came to me when I was really sick and she was more healthy, right? And she was like trying to tell me about sugar and junk food. And she was like, well, Dory, you would probably feel better if you didn't eat all that junk. And I literally got mad at her. That's how foolish I was. I got mad at my friend, you know, because I said, look, I don't have any vices. I don't do drugs and I'm sick. And, you know, don't take my food away. That's the only thing that makes me happy. But my food was killing me. My food was keeping me in that state of sickness. It was a catch-22. And I was so dumb, I didn't see it. Right. And then I got scared once I started learning about functional medicine. And I realized that, okay, my doctor is right. It was dumb of me. I had these crazy mindset things going on for so long. And now I really have to accept the fact that, yes, I do need to take better care of my body. I have to love this body that the Lord gave me, and I have to be a better steward of it. And then she's showing me things in my genetics, and she's showing me deficiencies in my cells, and she's telling me that I really need to eat vegetables and I really need to stop eating sugar and I need to do these things. I literally had to like, okay, what's my choice? But I was scared. I thought, well, gosh, you know, I've been 100 pounds overweight for so long. Like, how am I supposed to change my diet? I'm just going to fail. And that's how I felt. I really did. I felt like I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm just going to fail. But here's the truth. I didn't fail, you guys. I didn't. And the reason why I didn't is because I had God, okay? And I had help. I had a community of people around me. I had my team of doctors and scientists over at Bastyr University. That's the place that helped me to get well. And, we're all in the same boat. We're all like precision and functional doctors, and they're like naturopaths too. Well, naturopathy is part of the precision and functional medicine whole thing. Okay. And, between me learning new things and, I was going to conferences, and as I was getting better, and they were doing their stuff, and we just put it all together, and we got me well. And it wasn't, I would not say that it was a party. I would not say that it was the easiest thing that I've ever done. But I would say that it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the smartest thing I've ever done. It was me coming into a spiritual growth of aligning myself with the purpose that the Lord had for me all along. Which, my story is pretty weird, right? That here I was an autoimmune disease research scientist, and then got my own autoimmune diseases, and then suffered for so long, and then healed. And now I help other people with autoimmune diseases, right? I mean, like, you can't make this crazy stuff up. This is the kind of stuff that the Lord puts together, right? Because we would have never chose it that way, So that's just my truth, right?
What is an example of what you would eat in a day?
Okay. So this is probably going to be pretty different than what most people eat in a day. And I had to learn how to like this, okay? It wasn't like I just, okay, everything's Pollyanna. No, I had to learn how to do this, okay? So I typically start my day off with some coffee that's mixed with like this really neat mushroom blend. And it sounds kind of gross, but you guys, it tastes really good. It actually is. But this doesn't have like regular dairy or anything like that in it. It has like a little bit of coconut milk, which is really good, by the way. It's different than what you're used to. But you learn how to love it. Your taste buds change, right? And I love my mushroom coffee. It's delicious, right? So I'll start off my day with that. I do my intermittent fasting, so I don't eat right away. Now I had to teach my body how to do this too, because I was hypoglycemic when I was sick. So I couldn't just jump into intermittent fasting. I had to learn, I had to train my body, and it was a process. It took time. But now I do my intermittent fasting. So I usually don't eat until around 11 or 12 or so. And then when I do eat, usually it's a big salad of some kind, right? It's a lot of greens, a lot of olive oil, a lot of really healthy things. Like now I eat goat cheese. I didn't when I was healing. I stayed away from dairy when I was healing, but now I get goat cheese, really healthy stuff, organic stuff. Everything's clean. It's not loaded with toxins and glyphosate, right? Lots of olive oil, lots of yummy spices of all kinds. Usually it's either a piece of fish or a piece of chicken. Sometimes it's a piece of beef, but only the really good stuff. The money I spend on food now is definitely higher. But some of that, like it fixes itself because you're not buying the junk anymore. You're not driving through Jack in the Box and McDonald's anymore. So you're saving money there. And then you take that money and you put it into a really nice piece of beef. Instead of buying the cheap cuts, you're buying the organic grass-fed instead, right? It's a lot more satisfying. And you feel like you're eating like a queen, because you are. You're eating the way God meant you to eat, without all the toxins and the junk and the preservatives and the stuff that's literally killing you. Right? So there's no processed oils. Everything is really natural in our house. Very low carb and very low sugar. So lots of carbs from vegetables, because those are the kind of carbs that we're really supposed to be eating as human beings. But and lots of berries and yummy things like that, but not we don't do gluten-free bread. We don't do really high carbs, because that leads to the insulin resistance problem, which starts the whole ball rolling, right? So, and truth be known, I still eat a little bit too high of carbs. And so I'll typically carry about 10 extra pounds because I do, right? Now, I'm not in full-blown insulin resistance. I still feel great. So that's kind of how I play a little bit, so nobody is perfect at this, right? But we do our best. And so that's how I start my day. Usually after that, if I have a really nice big piece of grilled fish with, this big old huge salad, I'm usually pretty satisfied for a while. And then like around this time, like it's 5 o'clock my time now, I'm getting hungry again and I'm ready. And then time for me to go. I don't know, my daughter does a lot of cooking for me here, and she makes all kinds of different things. She makes like it's making my mouth water. I must be hungry. She makes stir fries, lots of veggies and meats. We can snack on nuts and seeds. We've got some really healthy yogurts in the house. We have a lot of ferments in the house. We have a lot of like natural fermented pickle and sauerkraut and beets and things like that. What else do we have in the fridge? Just lots of vegetables, tons of vegetables. They say as human beings to heal, we really need those like 8 to 10 vegetables a day. And doctors like Mark Hyman will tell you, yeah, he wants you to eat more like 15 cups of vegetables a day, which is really hard to do. You really can only do that if you're drinking a smoothie all day long. Yeah. And so we do that a lot here too. We make our smoothies, and that's one of the ways that I healed, is because it's really the only way to get superfood nutrition into your body. So a lot of smoothies. And so when you're healing, it's a different way of eating than what you're used to. Definitely. Like, we're not driving through the restaurants anymore. We still have good restaurants that we go to, but they're organic and, and they're made with the good, healthy oils and right. It's just different. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Probably pretty different than what you're used to, right?
Yes, and like I don't like fish, and everybody says you got to eat fish, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, if you don't like fish, then Samantha, you'd better be taking copious amounts of fish oil pills then, and not the cheap ones from Costco. Okay, you literally do. People should have like about 3 to 4 servings of fish a week. If you really hate fish and there's no way you're going to learn how to like it, then it's kind of like overcoming a genetic deficiency. You're going to have to do something about it, because your cells can't live without omega-3. And you're in through the roof without omega-3. And so you literally do have to get fish oil somehow. And if you're not going to eat the fish, you just don't have a choice. If you want to be healthy, you're going to have to spend a little money on a good supplement like a Nordic Naturals, or maybe like an SPM, which is basically concentrated fish oil with all the good things. And make sure that you get not just 1 pill a day, but maybe 4 pills a day of that. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, really. Mm-hmm.
Why does insurance companies not pay for functional medicine?
Good question.
If people are getting healthy by doing this, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it kind of does when you think of the corruption involved, actually. And I know that when I talk about this, I run the risk of YouTube throwing me off, and but I am still going to speak the truth, because most people know this truth anyway. Michelle says it is about making money. It is true. there is a lot of power and a lot of corruption in the pharmaceutical and the insurance industry. We know that the pharmaceutical industry is the #1 lobbyist of our US government. So they hold a lot of power. Okay. And you guys can learn this. You don't need to believe me say this. I mean, of course, you can read articles all over the place on this, but I would recommend Dr. Mark Hyman's latest book. It's called Food Fix. And when you read that book, and he lobbies Congress. He's one of the top functional medicine doctors in the world, and he lobbies Congress and he's trying to fix these things. But dang, it's probably going to take 20 years to fix it. Yeah. Yeah,
this
it's a mess. It's a mess.
This is totally not even on the subject, but I was totally against the COVID shot. And I mean, totally. And my rheumatologist was like, look, you really have got to take this shot. With all the autoimmune that you have, it could kill you.
It's
And
true that there's science on both sides of that. I personally have not taken any of the vaccines. I didn't feel I needed to, and I've had COVID twice, and my gut health is in great condition. So I just sailed right through it both times. I didn't have a problem. And the other thing too is that I'm kind of not afraid of dying because of everything that I've been through. So I just figure, okay, I'm going to trust the science. I'm going to trust my own health and my gut health. And I'm going to trust my immune system that it can take care of this. And if something is really bad in it and it's time for me to go, then God's going to take me out some way anyway. Right. And so that's my whole spiritual side of that. But even the father of functional medicine, Jeffrey Bland, he himself has taken the vaccine, and for his own reasons, because of his age, even though he's healthy, right? And I think it's a very personal decision, really. I think it really boils down to, and I'm not trying to ride the fence. I'm just trying to be perfectly honest.
What I was going to say is I took it, and everything has gotten way worse. And there's no doubt about it in my mind. My arthritis, everything has gotten worse.
Samantha, we've seen this. I can tell you one of the reasons why that is. The science has now learned that whether you get the vaccine or whether you have the disease itself, either way, what happens is it kind of skews your body over into what's called a Th17 cell subset. And I know I just kind of threw a lot at you, but what it really means is that your immune system kind of goes over into autoimmunity for a little bit. Okay. So if you already have autoimmune disease and you take the vaccine, you are risking kind of going skewed over into that autoimmune side a little bit more. Okay. But the same with getting the disease, it's going to happen anyway. Right. And so the good news is that what we see scientifically is that Th17 skew comes back to normal wherever your normal is, which your normal is autoimmune anyway, right? It comes back to normal in about a year or so. So it doesn't stay that way. It doesn't screw you for good. Okay. And truth be known, you being in autoimmune state right now, you're big time in Th17. Okay. You're big time over here. Okay. But you can take that back to normal. You can take it back to better than normal. It's just that a regular doctor will tell you that that's impossible. Like they told me I'm incurable. Once you have lupus, once you have scleroderma, you're screwed, you're done, that's it, you're over. You're never going to fix it. Here I am.
Yeah, I understand.
My ANA is normal. They cannot diagnose me with scleroderma today. I don't have the symptoms. I don't have the ANA anymore. Hello?
So how much vitamins do you take a day?
That's a really good question. So me, myself, now remember that I was really, really sick, so a lot like you. And when I was healing, my different supplements that I needed, oh gosh, they ran me well over $400 to $500 a month. I had to borrow, I had to okay, do this. I was knitting and crocheting and making little things and getting money. I was telling people on Facebook, hey, I gotta buy my supplements. Would you please buy
Yeah.
this little hat from me so I can buy this $35 thing of supplements, right? I mean, that was my life. I had to literally I had to sit down and I had to go, okay, I only have so much money. I have to get well. I knew that I was spending money where I shouldn't have been. Like I was driving through McDonald's. I was doing things that I could take that money and I could allocate it towards supplements or good food instead. Right.
Right.
Part of it came from that. Okay. Part of it I had to borrow because I just didn't have it. I just had to. Right. My supplements today run me around $250 a month, but I wouldn't say I need every one of those. I'm a scientist and I biohack. And so if I see there's science coming out, like in the longevity field is like a perfect example. The rich people of the world are putting billions into the study of longevity and epigenetics right now. And I thank God because we're able to learn a lot more science from that. And they're learning new things about things that we don't get normally in our food that we really need in order to slow down the aging process and just help us feel happier and healthier, help our mitochondria, to give us more energy as we age, right? And so I like to buy things like that too, and they can get a little pricey. So,
I understand.
Yeah, but
what you're saying is you might start out taking a lot at one time, but you're not always going to have to take those.
It's true. Yeah, when you're healing, I was on a lot of stuff. I mean, I was killing my mycoplasma and I was fixing MTHFR, and it's like, oh man, my cells were such a mess. I was missing most of my antioxidants. I was missing most of my B vitamins, my minerals. I was a mess. I had to fix my gut health. I had to bring down my inflammation with turmeric and all this, which I still take. So, guys, like if there's anything that everybody should be taking every day, and any good precision or functional doctor will tell you this, we all agree on this. Nobody is, differing on this one. Everybody needs magnesium. You can't get enough of it in your diet. It's impossible nowadays. Everybody needs fish oil. If you're not going to eat your fish, you're going to have to take it. Everybody needs a really good multivitamin, not the Centrum, not the crap at Costco. Okay. You're making yourself worse when you take that crap. Okay. You got to invest a little money. Like my multivitamin literally costs me probably $35 a month because it's a really good one. It's got higher concentration of vitamin D and K2 and all of my methylated B vitamins, not just the crappy stuff that they normally put in those cheap vitamins, right? And so a good multivitamin. What else? Turmeric. A good turmeric supplement will lower inflammation, will help protect your brain health. It's just the science.
I got a turmeric and I got it at the herb shop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't cheap, but it didn't do anything for me.
Well,
I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Samantha, you cannot out supplement your crap right now. And I just tell you straight up, right? You cannot expect a supplement, one or two supplements, to fix your issues. It's impossible. What you have to have is you have to have the testing so you can see exactly what's wrong. And you have to attack those root causes specifically. And trust me, it's going to be more than just turmeric and fish oil. It's going to be a bunch of things that you have to do. And it's a holistic approach. You have to be eating right, while at the same time you have to be taking care of your genetics. While at the same time you have to be doing these lifestyle practices to help fix that narcolepsy, okay, and that insomnia. You have to be doing your supplements and your protocols, the things that we know heal the leaky gut and heal the leaky brain, and right. It's like throwing yourself into this whole new life.
A minute. Did you hear me? I lost you for like a whole minute. I didn't hear anything.
No. Oh no! And here I was saying so much
I
goodness.
know. I'm so sorry.
I was saying that you're not going to notice a difference when if you've got this much inflammation and you take a turmeric that brings it down this much, you're not going to notice a difference. Okay. Okay. And people say this all the time. Well, I tried that supplement. It didn't do a dang thing. So therefore that's all bull. No, that's not the truth. The truth is that supplement scientifically does reduce inflammation. The problem is that your inflammation is this big and the supplement's only doing this much of the work.
Right.
Okay? You're not going to really
was a chiropractor, and he firmly believed in vitamins, and he
it's
took
not like it's I always want to tweak people's wordage when they say that. It's not that we firmly believe, it's that it's a fact. Your cells cannot function if they don't have enough omega-3. It's a fact. It's not a belief. It's a fact. You can look at cells in a petri dish and you can do the studies and you can take away a lot of omega-3 from that cell and it will die. Or if it doesn't die, it does worse things. It produces massive amounts of inflammation in the petri dish. Inflammatory markers. Okay. It's a fact. It's a fact. You have to have what your cells need. You have to, right? So it's not a belief in vitamins working. It's a holistic approach. And that's what I was saying that you missed. You have to learn how to take better care of yourself. You have to do the lifestyle practices. Yes, you have to take the vitamins. Yes, you have to eat right. Yes, you have to take care of your stress level because stress causes a massive amount of inflammation.
And I have a terrible way of handling my stress.
Don't we all? Okay, this is the way we were raised, right? But one of the things that I did along with my healing is I did this thing called EMDR therapy. And there's another one that's similar to it called DNRS. And it's basically a new way of teaching your brain how to not react so badly to the traumas or to the triggers that we all have. So I would look up EMDR therapy. I would also look up DNRS therapy. Most of it's covered by insurance. So
I'm actually seeing a therapist now. And we are working with different things.
Very good.
I'm gonna text that to myself. EMDR and what else?
EMDR is one of the therapies. The other therapy is called DNRS.
David Nancy RF.
RS as in Sam. I even forget what that stands for. But anyway, look at it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I know you would do the $500 test, and that would be,
that's to start. That's just to see, what's happening. From there, we get so many clues from that one test, right? But like what I'm always telling people is we have medical funding now, which is really cool. Medical funding sources often it's an easier way to make sure that things get paid for, right? And I wish we had it when I was healing. I did get a grant though. I was pretty lucky. The Lord, when you step out and you start doing things to line yourself up with the Lord, it's just amazing what happens, because this is a true story, you guys. I knitted and crocheted this hat for this lady for her little boy. And then she posted this picture of, and I'm a really good knitter and crocheter. Okay. So these hats were really cute. And she had the picture with the little boy with his cute little hat. And one of her friends saw it. Well, one of her friends just happened to be this woman who ran this group of Christian people who they had this organization where they helped women who were trying to better themselves for whatever reason, women who were trying to go back to school, or maybe they were single moms, or maybe they were sick like me and they were trying to heal, right? And this woman calls me up and she says, now, I hope that I don't offend you, but I've got this friend and she really wants to talk to you because she does this and she really wants to help you. But it's kind of like charity. And is that okay? And I was like, well, there's probably people who need it worse than me. And she was like, no, because I had my sister and whatever. And like, no, you should talk to her. You really should. And so God had this woman give me literally, okay, this is a true story, $750 a month. This organization gave me for a whole year. And
Wow.
I know it. And that just came from God. Okay, that just came straight from God. I didn't even know that little Christian organization existed. They're just this tiny little thing. I didn't even know they existed. I wouldn't have even known to look for them, right? So if you step out and you just do the right thing and just try to do the right thing and talk to the Lord about it. I mean, really, because.
Well, I've been praying for a miracle, and I've been praying for a testimony that God was going to heal me, because everybody's seen me on this walker. They've seen me not be able to walk good. They've seen me struggling, and I've been praying. And my thing is, I'm strong and I'm healed. And I've been praying that God was going to heal me, because I want to have a testimony to be able to share with people that,
It's the best thing in the world, man. It's the best thing in the world. Yeah. But look what he did. Like, what I tell my clients all the time, Samantha, I tell them, look, God could just zap you and poof, there you go. You're all better. No walk. There you go. He could. Why do you think he does it? Why do you think he makes you walk through the process?
Well, I think it's part of your testimony. I lost my granddaughter at 10 and a half months, and she was in the NICU the whole time. I'll try to be quick, but she was 1 pound 6 ounces, 10 and a half inches long, and she coded 10 times, and 9 of them we were in there. And we actually got to witness to a lot of people while we were there. And we actually do something called Bags with the Blessing, sharing hope. After my granddaughter, her name was Mary Elise Hope Bussey, because they gave us no hope. And we take bags to the NICU at UAB, and they're a bag with a Bible, a throw, a teddy bear, chicken soup for the soul, a journal, a pen, a cup, throw, toothbrush, toothpaste, and shampoo. And we've been doing that ever since Mary Elise passed away, and she'll be 10 in heaven in October.
You will see her.
So
I have
I
no doubt.
know that God gave her to us for us to be able to witness to other people and to share how God, I could tell you miracle after miracle after miracle that happened when we were in the hospital with her. And, being able to share that, and being able to share with people who have lost loved ones. Just the other day, I was going down the road, and he placed 2 names in my mind. And I said, okay, Lord, I know what you're telling me. And I knew that they had lost a grandchild, and I wanted to make sure before I called them. But anyway, I found their number, and I just called them, and I talked to him for about an hour. And I knew that that's what God wanted me to do. And had I not gone through that, I would have not been able to do that.
Exactly right.
And,
That's exactly
and
right.
I just feel like he allows us to be a vessel for him in that way. And I feel like through what all I've been through with my health, there's a reason for it. And he's going to allow me to be a vessel for him when I'm healed.
Right. And, you know, I honestly believe that this whole company here was started by God. I mean, it's not really a belief. I mean, it just happens that way. I wasn't even healed yet when the Lord started bringing people to me. And people from my town were hearing the story. And then I would get calls from, from their grandmother who lived across the country. And, can you help me? And I was still healing myself and still learning myself, right? Because just because I'm a scientist and I had all that training conventionally does not mean that I didn't need more training in the precision side of things, right? And I thank God that he gave me the brain that he did, because once my brain started healing and it wasn't like so full of brain fog anymore, I was really able to ramp up and really learn quickly again, like I did when I was young. And that was a huge blessing. Like I never thought that I would be able to do that again, because
And that's a scary feeling, the brain fog and the falling asleep and it's a very scary feeling.
Yes, it is. I know. That's one of the
Not
reasons
being
why.
able to remember.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I had to stop and I finally left being a scientist was because I literally could not function anymore. I mean, I was this kid that had the straight A brain, right? The Lord really did give me something really cool there, right? And I could remember anything. I was super, super smart, right? I was always at the top of my class, all the way through school, all the way through college, everything, right? And then when I got sick, that was one of the first things that I started noticing, besides the headaches, is my brain just started like it was weird. It was different. I started getting scared and started thinking that maybe I had early Alzheimer's because it was that bad.
I understand that.
My husband was noticing. My boss at work was noticing. I had to write everything down. I never had to do that. I just couldn't keep a thought straight. It was bad. It was bad.
I can totally relate to that. And it's very embarrassing when your boss comes to you and says something, you say, I'm sorry, but I cannot remember.
Right. And it's not your fault. This is the whole leaky gut, leaky brain thing. Okay. And it creates a lot of your cells not being able to function, you not having everything you need, creates a lot of problems with the way your brain works. But your brain is amazing. You know that they're taking people with stage 5 Alzheimer's disease and they're reversing them back to like stage 1 now, which everybody says is possible, but it's not now. Okay. How are they doing it? They're doing it the exact same way that I'm telling you guys today. It's a holistic thing. It's not just, okay, you're going to take a few supplements, right? It's a very holistic thing. You have to change the way you eat. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to follow your protocols. You have to do those tests and find your root causes and do what it takes to get rid of those root causes, whatever they are. All of this is possible. And when you do this work, it might take you a couple of years to really get it all done. And then you're still going to be working on it for the rest of your life, just like me. But your body turns around, your brain gets better. I've got all my brain functioning back again now. And I don't have any problems at all with my brain anymore. And it used to be so bad. So this is the truth. Your body can heal. It can heal significantly. We see people in our clinic all the time, and they're all doing it. They are all healing significantly, right? And it's not like you're only going to heal 5 or 10%. It's more like the minimum is like 50%. Right?
Wow.
And that's the truth. That's, as God is my witness, that's the truth. The only way that people don't get well is if, like, if they just kind of go, well, this is too hard. I'd rather eat my ice cream. I'd rather die young, whatever. If people get that kind of an attitude, forget it. It's all over, because you will never heal that. You really do have to be surrounded by people who are lifting you up all the time and loving you and just giving you truth and giving you the science and telling you you can do this and just being right in there with you in your life. That's what it takes to heal. And you got to keep that mindset positive, because if you quit, what do you got? The same old crap you've always had. But if you follow the latest science, and really, when I say follow the latest science, what I really mean is align yourself up with God's science. Align yourself up with the purpose that God had for you, for your life in the first place, because he wants you to be healthy. What was Jesus's number one thing that he did when he came to this earth? He healed people.
Yeah.
Why? He could have done anything else. Why did he feel it was important to heal people? Because being healthy is important, right? It's important. And so lining yourself up with the purpose that God had for you, I can just bet that the purpose is not for you to live an extremely unhealthy life when your life could be healthier. Now, that might be different for someone who was born with cerebral palsy. Okay, that I might be talking about something completely different. But when it comes to these types of chronic illness that are epidemic right now, the diabetes, the PCOS, the insulin resistance, the overweight, all of these things, these are all known to be preventable. We didn't have to develop arthritis, Samantha. We didn't have to develop diabetes. We did this because we didn't know any better. And we can just as easily turn it around. It'll just take time and work. But I will dare to say to you right now, because I know that there are no coincidences in this world. I know that the Lord brought you to sit here and listen to me jabber half the day for a reason. There are no coincidences. You're supposed to hear this. Whether you ever work with me or not, doesn't matter. The fact that the Lord wants me to be obedient and be speaking the truth during these meetings. And it doesn't matter if you go get help from some other doctor somewhere or whether you come to me, it doesn't matter. You have to hear the truth right now today, that you can heal, that you are not incurable, that you can reverse this. That's the truth. That's the truth. And so now your choice is, what are you going to do with that truth?
So you're talking about the grants or whatever y'all have the money. How does that work to help somebody?
Yeah, well,
Help us.
it's really easy, actually. What the funding companies do is they put together a loan for you. And that loan can be whatever you need it to be, really. And of course, it does depend on your credit, right? But they will still fund people even if they have bad credit, right? It's just that the interest rate goes higher. That's the truth. But, for me, the way I look at it, like when I was broke, I bought a car. And because I was broke and on Social Security disability, I had to have a really high interest rate on that car because that was the only way I could buy the car. And I had to have a car.
Right.
Okay. And so I signed to the paper and it was terrible interest, right? But I had to have a car. I didn't have a choice. And so I did it, right? Well, I'm glad I did it because I had to have a car. And the way I look at it with healing and getting our health back, it's the same way. Now, some people just have a credit card that they can, put it on. Okay, right? I don't care. Like, if you have to go into debt in order to get your health back, if that's the only way you can do it, dang, do it. Because once you get your health back, then you can make more money. You can pay off the debt, just like you pay off that car, or just like you pay off, whatever else you need in your life. Because there is nothing more important in your life than your health, right?
So
Nothing
how
is
much
more.
do you think it would cost to begin and get your supplement? Well, you don't really know until you do the testing, do you?
It's true. And so what we always do here, and what a lot of functional doctors do, is we get you started with like that first small appointment. So typically here, we charge $197 for that. And what we do is we do like a full evaluation. We make you fill out this big honking long form that's forever long. And we sit down with you for about an hour, and we really get deep into what's going on with you. And then we decide what tests would be best for you. And most of the time, that first test is going to be that one I told you about, that Nutri-Eval, because we can get a lot of bang from the buck for that test, right?
And that's a blood test or what?
It's both, actually. It looks at metabolites, which you get from your urine. So that's the easy part. And then the other part is the blood part. So you do have to have a blood draw. But then you're getting both the metabolites and the whole blood, which is an excellent way to see everything that you need to see at the cellular level. And so we start usually with that test, see what it says, right? And then go from there. Because it's really hard to say, okay, like on our website, we have like a big program that has everything and all the bells and whistles, and it's more expensive. It's more of a bigger ticket item, right? And a lot of people will need that. That is true. But to be honest, we don't really know what you need until we start doing some testing and see what's this going to look like for you very realistically. Is it going to be more of like a 1 year thing? Is it just a little bit of issue that you can fix in a year? Or is this more like a 2 year, 3 year thing? Because that's very common, Samantha. And especially with someone like you that you're, I'm just going to be a 1,000,000% honest with you always. And when you're very ill and you've reached that point where there's a lot of stuff wrong, yeah, you're looking at probably an average of 2 years to really work with someone and, really let them get into the middle of your life and, really work with someone. Yeah.
So how does that work that you're in San Diego and I'm in Alabama?
No, it doesn't matter at all. So most of the precision and functional companies are virtual now, especially since COVID. And so you will notice that you can go to your doctor now virtually as well. And for the kind of work that we do, since we're looking at testing, I mean, like, you can show us your hands and you can show us little things on your skin and whatever through the video, but really that's symptom down. Okay. And it's good to see, but the way we work from root cause up. So we want to see your testing, right? We're scientists. We want to see your testing. We want to see what's happening at that root cause level and then help you fix it from there. So doing everything virtually, it works great. And you can show up to your doctor appointment in your jammies.
Right. So like the blood work and stuff, what labs do y'all use?
Well, same labs that you use, right? There are precision labs all over the country. So they're everywhere.
Like
And,
LabCorp?
well, yeah, we definitely look at some LabCorp and Quest. And then the precision labs, like where the Nutri-Eval comes from, we just call the company and say, okay, we've got this person in this place in Alabama, and what lab are you contracted with close by? And so you just go to that lab and have your blood drawn, right? Or most towns have like a mobile phlebotomist that will come to you, right? And they might cost you a little more to do it that way, but it's worth it, because you're getting your answers. And you're on the path to healing rather than being on the path of inflammation and continual getting worse over time. You are lined up with God's science. You are using the science that he created for us to use, right? There are no coincidences in the world, and the science is real. And just because the insurance company doesn't pay for it all yet does not mean that the science is real, right?
Does the insurance pay for any of it? Any of your blood work at all?
Yeah, it does. It's just, we have to like kind of go around our elbow to make it happen. And it's really a pain in the butt. It's usually a lot easier for people just to do medical funding and just pay for it and get it done. If you try to do it the insurance way, like I know Medicare will cover functional testing. It's just really hard to make it happen, right? It's almost more stress to make it happen than it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So most people, to be honest, will just do the medical funding, pay for it, boom, you're done. You don't have to wait months. You don't have to do paperwork. You don't have to, you don't have to go through any of that.
So how long, let's say we decided to do it, and how long does it take for you to get results back to even be able to begin to tell me what's going on?
Yeah. So typically, if we order a test for someone, the test will arrive at your house within a week. You can go ahead and get started getting your samples right away. And usually we have results in about 3 weeks or so. Yeah. And so it's a pretty quick process to find the root causes. To actually fix the root causes, that's what takes time and work, right? And that's why we put people, especially when we find a lot of big root causes, we're putting people in a program where, you're surrounded by other people doing it. We're all doing it together. And you're learning, really. It's kind of like getting a little mini master's degree in your own health, because you're learning all about your own personal testing. You're learning about, all the lifestyle practices and the nutrition things that you have to do, and everything about, all about your mitochondria and how to take care of your gut health and, all those things. So those things that no one ever taught us, we have to learn in order to heal. It doesn't work like, I'm always telling people, you have to put the work into this. It's not like I'm just going to give you a protocol and then you're just going to run with it and it's just going to make you better. It doesn't work that way. You literally have to learn how to change your life. And that means you have to go through training, and you have to really care about learning, and you have to go to these meetings every week, and you have to, you know what I mean? You have to really throw yourself into this if you want it to work.
Right.
Yeah. So people will typically start to see results in feeling better. Oh, it just depends on how bad their diet was, because that's the first place we start. While we're waiting for test results to come back, is we're helping you with your diet, and we're helping you to get on a really good gut protocol in the beginning. And people will usually start seeing that, oh, well, things are just a little bit better. Maybe within the first month, maybe 2, you'll start to notice little things are changing, right? And then usually people are really seeing, hey, things definitely are better by 5 or 6 months. Right. And then it just depends on how really bad you are. Right. For someone like you, you're probably going to be very similar to me. And I see this all the time, because most of our clients are very, very ill. We don't have clients that just need to lose 10 pounds and healthier. We don't have clients like that. We, here are the ones who have been, chronically ill for a long time, and they've had major problems. And so what we see is usually, like, by about 6 months, people are saying, yeah, it definitely is better. I know I still have a long way to go, but I can see the difference. I can see that I am in control of my health. I can control whether my inflammation goes through the roof and I give myself a flare or not, right? And they're starting to learn all that, which is putting you in the driver's seat, making you the CEO of your own health. And
Okay.
that is where it's at, baby, because right now, and I was there too, we're in a place where we're scared, we think we're incurable, nobody's listening to us, nobody really gets us. So we're in an emotional state that is not healthy, we're in a physical state that is not healthy. And we just kind of feel like, okay, well, this is whatever. This is just my sucky life and I just have to deal with it, right? But when you start becoming empowered and you start realizing that, wait a minute, I just fell for that lie. The devil had me stuck in that trap for all that time. And now, wait a minute, I really do have the key. I can open that gate and I can walk out, right? And I can walk in alignment with where God wants me to walk. And I can really work on this, right? And now I have power. Now I have power. And that's why you can't shut me up, Samantha. That's why I do this. That's why I get on here and do this and spend my time, because yeah, of course, it brings people to my company so that we can help them. Sure. But I mean, oh my gosh, this is where it's at right here. The fact that we have this big, huge truth that we can give to you. And if people are just willing to take that key and open the gate and walk through it and just do what you got to do to get healthy, your whole life can change. And it's not instant. It's not a quick fix. It's going to take work. It's true, right? Anything worth it does. And the Lord wants you to go through that work. I am absolutely convinced. That's why he doesn't just zap, like he did when he was here. He wants us to walk this. He wants us to learn trust in him while we're suffering. He wants us to learn how to overcome. He wants us to learn how to deal with the suffering and the pain, but yet then have the victory over it and learn how to be empowered. He wants that for us. He wants us to learn how to do that, right? Because right now, and when I was sick, Satan has control. He's got you stuck in this place. But
Exactly.
But you are a daughter of the Most High King. You have power that you don't even know you have. And it starts by you knowing that there is other things that you can do. You just don't have to stay stuck where you're at just because you don't feel good. And just because some doctor told you that you're incurable. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
That makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it sure does. So getting started with us is, if you choose to work with us, I mean, I don't really care. You can choose to work with anybody, right? I mean, I know that God put you here to listen to the truth today. And what you do with that truth is totally up to you. If you choose to get started here with us, it's $197 for that first that first evaluation, but we also give you a couple of really cool programs to go with it. So, in case for some reason you don't get funded, or or you just decide that you don't want to do this or whatever, you've still got these programs that you can use on your own that are going to help you with your diet and your circadian rhythm, help you to get your liver working a little bit better, help you to detox better, help you with brain fog and anxiety and depression. We've got 2 really good programs that we give you. And so we've wrapped that package up together so that you're going to come to that evaluation. You're going to learn what your possible root causes are. And then if you want to step forward and continue to work with us and do the testing, then great. That's when we'll look at funding and we'll see, how much they give you and what we can do for you. Right?
Okay.
But typically people do this in a lot of different ways. They they grab some money off of a credit card to do something, or they or they do the funding, or like I had to do, I had to like go to my sister and please help me do this,
Mhm.
So, but
So how long have you been better?
so I'm going on my 7th year, and 7 is an awesome number. I love being able to say that I'm going on my 7th year, right?
So you were pretty much in so much severe pain that you, like you said, you couldn't hardly wash dishes. When you walked, you hurt. I mean, you couldn't go to the grocery store. The things that people take for granted, you couldn't do those things.
Well, I could do it, but I had to sit in the scooter. I was
Yeah,
that
I
one
have a scooter too.
grocery store. How embarrassing. I was in my 50s.
I'm
Yeah.
54,
Yeah.
soon to be 55.
You are, Samantha, you're the same age when I started my healing. I just turned 60. Yeah. So isn't that interesting? You're the same age that I was. Yeah. And you know how it started for me? I don't know if you've heard my God story yet, but I was literally, my doctors told me that I was, of course, scleroderma, it's incurable. Lupus, it's incurable. Okay. And with my particular form of scleroderma that I had a doctor once say to me, well, you probably have about 10 years. And he said that to give me hope.
Yeah.
Because some people die of scleroderma in 3 or 4 years. Okay. So he was saying that to give me hope. It was just his bedside manner was not very good. And he said, well, you probably have about 10 years, but you could get lucky and have 20. I have seen people with this disease, go 20 years, but you probably go 10 years. And I was, like in my right. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? When I was first diagnosed, and I'm in my mid 30s, and they're telling me, well, okay, you got 10 years, just matter of fact, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's scary, isn't it?
It was horrendous. It was very scary. But here's what happened to me. So I was in year 14 of my illness. So I was past 10 years, right? But I was very, very ill. Like I said, I was on a cocktail of anywhere between 12 and 20 medications a day. I could still go to church and everything. I didn't work anymore. I laid on the couch most of the time. I couldn't really clean the house at all. I could do little things here and there. I was a mess all the time. I was very sick all the time. If I went to church, it was like a major ordeal. It was got to take 20 different medications. Sometimes I would get into the shower and just go lay back down because
that's a hard part for me is getting ready. I'm still working. I make myself keep on keeping on, and getting ready in the morning is just like exhausting.
What do you do?
It's horrible.
What do you do for a living?
I work at an office supply store.
Mm-hmm. Hard. And yeah, I was so sick I couldn't do it anymore. I tried. I did. For the first 3 or 4 years of my illness after diagnosis, I was doing little things here and there. And I worked at a Bible camp, and and I worked in the office there for a little bit. Here I was, a scientist at the PhD level, and here I was working in a little Bible camp as a receptionist, right? But it was all I could do,
And people keep saying, why don't you get on disability? And I'm like, I don't want to.
Well,
if I can put one foot in front of the other, I'm going to try.
Samantha, this tells me something about you, because you probably have what it takes to do what I did, because you're still fighting, baby. You're still fighting, right? I couldn't.
Right.
I literally, I could not fight. My body was just a mess. But anyway, what I was going to tell you is, I was in year 14, and I was having one of those really, really, really bad flares. So you probably know what I'm talking about.
I do.
they feel like you're probably going to die. I mean, they scare
Yep.
you to death. Your whole body is just completely a mess. And so I was in one of those flares, and usually my flares would last for maybe a week or so, and then they would start to get better. Well, this one didn't get better. And this had been going on for a good 2 weeks, and I was really scared. I thought, okay. And, this was the thought that kept rolling in my head that, all right, well, I can't get up to go to the bathroom. I can barely move here. I had gone to the hospital, but they can't do anything for you. They'll shoot you up with morphine and send you home.
Right.
They don't know what to do. And so I had already been to the hospital twice. They can't do anything. So I'm just laying in bed and I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is how I die, and it's never been this bad before. And so I had to go to the bathroom, and I got up to go to the bathroom. Took me like a half an hour just to get, okay, I'm going to get up. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up. But I was home by myself. And so I got to the bathroom, went to the bathroom, and I was walking back into my bedroom when I collapsed. And as I collapsed, I was still conscious. I didn't pass out. My body just, I couldn't, I just collapsed. And it was really weird. And so I laid on the bedroom floor, and I just cried out to God. And I just told him, I just said, please don't take me yet. I couldn't leave my granddaughter. She was still young, and I was raising her, and I was like, it was like this dramatic scene. And I literally just said, I'm a scientist, for crying out loud. If there's anything I can do, you got to show me. You just got to show me, right? You can just imagine the big old dramatic scene. That's really what it was. But it was horrible. It was horrible. It was really scary. And I laid there for a little while. And finally, I said, all right, well, I'm still laying here. I haven't passed out or anything. I'm still alive. So I guess I'll get back up and get into bed. So I got back into bed, and I had a TV over my bed, and I turned it on, which is what I always do when I don't feel good, because you probably know that if you can distract your brain when you don't feel good, it helps you. Right. That's why I knitted and crocheted, because it distracted my brain and helped me to feel better. So I turned the TV on, and there was this YouTube video. And it said scleroderma, which was my main diagnosis, and functional medicine. And that's what was on the TV when I did this. And I looked at that, and I went, I'm like, no way. And I flip away from it. And for about an hour, God kept doing this. And he was like, you need to watch that. You need to watch that. And so finally I did. I went back and I watched the video, and it was this doctor who was not that far from me. And he was saying, look, you have to get to the root causes of your scleroderma, and you have to find out what's wrong with your cells, and you have to, right? And he was explaining all this. And then he was showing me the science. He was showing me all of these scientific peer-reviewed journal articles. And that's exactly what my geeky brain needed to see to convince me. And so I just went, whoa. And so right away I knew that there I was, I'm on the floor, I'm crying out to the Lord. He answered me. He literally answered me. And he said, there you go. There is your answer. And so what I did is, from my bed, I did what's called a literature review, which is what scientists do when they want to learn something. And that's easy to do. You just open your laptop and you just start reading all of the science. And I literally learned all about precision, and it was called functional medicine then. Now it's more called precision, because we've gotten even smarter in the last 10 years and learned so much more. And that's how my whole healing journey started, is the Lord literally answered my prayer, showed me this other side of medicine that I had kind of poo-pooed, because I was a conventional scientist, you see. And conventional scientists were so arrogant. We don't think that the natural thing is, we just poo-poo that. Okay.
Right.
And that was my training at the master's and the PhD level. That was my training. We become very arrogant.
Mm,
And so I really thought that no, this whole natural thing, no, this is not going to work. And what I found out learning through the last, all these years now is that no, the natural way is God's way. It's the way we're supposed to take care of ourselves. It's the way he created us to eat in the first place. It's the way he created us to take care of our bodies. And as a society, we've come so far away from that now we've created epidemic illness. We've corrupted ourselves with our own sinful nature, right? And
right.
we do, God didn't create M&Ms on trees for us to eat.
Right. Right. I understand what you're saying.
No, but
I understand.
You know what he did, Samantha? Here's what God did. God gave us strawberries. God gave us blueberries. He gave us raspberries for treats. He gave us oranges. I mean, and once you stop eating sugar and then you start eating real fruit for your treat and you realize, whoa, you can start tasting how good it is. Whereas when your body is overloaded with sugar and junk all the time, your taste buds are dull. You don't even notice how good a strawberry tastes.
And all you do is crave sugar. Because you're not supposed to have it. Right now, that's all you do.
Exactly.
And when I can't sleep at night, I eat.
Exactly. And
you're not good.
Yourself worse by doing that and you don't even know it. Right.
Oh, I know. I mean, I literally get sometimes 2 hours of sleep a night.
Terrible.
And I know it's terrible. I know it is. And I feel terrible.
Yeah. But you can turn it around, Samantha. I mean, that's why I've spent all this time with you tonight. I know you can turn this around. And whether you work with me here, doesn't matter.
I think I would like to work with you because I just feel like you wouldn't have spent the time if you didn't care.
I do care.
You would have just said your speech and been done.
No, I do care. This is my mission. This is why I'm still alive. I know that.
And I hope, I like that you share your testimony,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about God, and because that's the only way. I mean, if it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be able to continue on.
That's right. That's right. But I know that God has a purpose for my life. I know that he has a purpose for your life. And that's not just a cliche thing that Christians say. That is a real fact that the Lord tells us, our own daddy tells us that he has a purpose for our life and that all the suffering that we go through is for our learning. It's for our good. Everything he has us go through is for our good. Right.
And to be a testimony for somebody else that needs it.
Amen. And so, like, would I have chosen my life to have lost my career for a while? I mean, I was doing great as a career woman, as a scientist. I was making great money, right? I was writing papers. I was getting accolades. I was at the top school. I mean, I was doing great. I lost my whole career. And can you imagine being like a type A go-getter person and then completely losing your whole everything that you lived for to an illness that you couldn't control? And that was hell. That was the worst part. I mean, the emotional part of that was the worst part of all. It really was. But I would have never chosen that path for myself, ever. But the Lord chose it for me because he knew that that was the way that I would learn the most. And that was the way that I would, develop the most compassion for people and the most,
right. And that's what it takes. It takes caring and wanting to help people instead of greeting someone with, have you talked to your doctor about weight loss surgery? I literally wanted to punch her in her throat.
I'll bet
I'm not that kind of person.
I know. I'll bet you.
I wanted to say, do you think I look in the mirror and see a skinny person?
Thank you very much.
No, I don't.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
don't. I want to be a skinny person, but I'm not. But
Yeah.
what do I need to do to get signed up with you?
Well, it's super easy. I've got a link, and actually I can put it right here in the chat. And let's see. Do you know how to open up the chat on the Zoom and grab that little link right there?
Maybe.
You just click that bottom little thing on the bottom of the Zoom, and it says chat, and then you open it up, and then there's a link right there that you can grab.
Okay, I'm grabbing it, but it's not doing anything.
Well, you kind of have to copy it, I think. You have to like.
Okay, copy text. I got it. And then
Yeah,
place it
and
in. Okay. Okay,
put
I
that
got
up.
it.
And then it should open up a page and you'll see my picture. There's a video of me, so you know you're in the right place.
Well, I'm trying to paste it, but it's not pasting. Oh, there we go. I got it.
Did it work? And it's
It
pink.
did. I got it.
Got it.
Yep.
And
Got
so
it.
then there's a little green button that that says you can book now, and that'll take you to the page where it's all it's all safe, it's all HIPAA compliant, and it's all safe, so you don't have to worry, and you can go ahead and pay for the appointment. And then as soon as that happens, my team, well, it's kind of late now, so it's not going to happen tonight, but but tomorrow morning, they're going to see that you got that, and you're going to get a phone call, probably from Garrett. He is my client liaison. He's also my operations manager here. He is a wonderful Christian young man. You're just going to love him. And
Okay.
he will walk you through. He'll give you your paperwork and get you started. And everything that you do here with us, you'll notice that we really love to take care of people here. So, you probably get a lot of phone calls from us and a lot of attention. So that's the way it is here, just so you know.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll do all this, and I'll probably have to call him back. You'll probably have to leave me a message, and I'll have to call him back because I'll be at work, but I can do that
Okay.
at lunch or something, and we can go from there.
Well,
And I
and what,
really appreciate you taking the time with me.
of course, I'm going to go ahead and put in Garrett's phone number here too. So you know that when he calls, it's him.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's like, some crazy scammer calling you.
There's so many people. Yes.
Okay. So let's see. Boom. Make sure that. So that's Garrett's number, 760-239-9972. And that's one of our main office numbers. And so you know that, when he's calling you, that's who it is. So you can answer, or he'll leave a message, you can get back to him, and he's gonna soft onboard you and give you some paperwork to fill out. And then probably next week, as soon as there's an opening, we're going to get you in, and we're going to go ahead and do that root cause evaluation and get you started on your testing. And
that sounds great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Samantha. I'm going to look forward to working with you.
You too. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad. Okay. Well, what are you going to go do now? Oh my gosh. You're in Alabama. Aren't you like 3 hours ahead of San Diego?
It's 8:11 right now.
Oh, you got to go to bed, girl.
I won't go to bed, but I am tired. But anyway, thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Samantha. We'll talk.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I'm just going to stay on here for a minute for anyone who's watching the replay, because this is replaying on YouTube. That's what it's like working with us, just talking to people and learning about your health, and just being honest and upfront about what is this all about? What is this whole precision medicine thing? And what really can we do to help ourselves? And we're always going to be super honest with you here, right? When we do that root cause evaluation with you, we're going to literally tell you the truth. Hey, if this is something that maybe usually we only see getting 50% better, then we're going to tell you that. Like I can tell you right up front, my Raynaud's that I had from my scleroderma, which is a very common thing to have Raynaud's when you have an autoimmune disease. My Raynaud's is really only about 75% better. That's the truth. There was so much epithelial cell damage and damage to my veins and my capillaries that I was able to heal a lot of that. I really was. But I wasn't able to heal all of it. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I got my Raynaud's 75% better. Is that worth it? Is it worth it for you to learn how to take better care of yourself? I got my energy back. I feel great. I love my life again. That doesn't mean that life is perfect, okay? But wow, okay? Following precision medicine, which is what I always say, this is just God's medicine, okay? This is God's way. It's going back to what we should have been doing instead of following the mess that has been created in society. We can truly do this, and we can get better. We can feel better. We can better fulfill our purpose for the Lord. And, so I don't mince words about it. Right. And so I did go ahead and put that link in the chat and the phone number in the chat. And so that should pop up on the feed. And so anybody can do that. Anybody can go to that bit.ly/root cause 7. And root and cause are capitalized. And I think it has to be that way for it to work. So it's bit.ly/capital ROOT and then capital CAUSE root cause and then the number 7. And that will put you into our website where it's all HIPAA compliant and safe. You don't have to worry. And you can pay for that $197. That's going to get you your root cause evaluation with me. It's also going to get you 2 really awesome programs that you can do on your own. And it's going to help you with your nutrition, with your circadian rhythm for your sleep, and a good liver detox, and a couple of other things. And also there's another program for your brain fog, anxiety, and depression, that these 2 programs alone are very, very helpful. And they're worth a lot of money just on their own. But we're going to give these to you just to help you because we know not everybody is going to be able to come through our program here. So we really want to be able to give those to you as part of your initial package. So you can really get started and you can really start learning about how to start feeling better, right? But everybody can afford to get their testing done, right? I mean, unless you're living in a cardboard box out on the street, okay, you can afford to get your testing done. You can reallocate money and you can put it over here into a test and you can find your root causes. And then, yes, you can spend a little money, reallocate that money, and you can help yourself to get well from finding those root causes, right? We can all do this. We really can. It's not that expensive. And there is medical funding to help, right? And so if you've watched this whole thing through, I know this one went really a little long today, but if you've watched this whole thing through, I hope that you could see the honesty here. I hope that you can see the integrity, the transparency, that I was just, very honest with this sweet woman. And, that's what it's all about, right? Just helping you to learn the truth, helping you to make the right decisions, helping you to overcome the negative mindsets that keep us stuck where we're at, and just moving you forward to a better place, a place that God really wants you to be. He doesn't want you to be stuck in this. And there really are answers for all of us. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I can smell my dinner cooking at this time of night. So I'm going to go see what's for dinner. And I love you guys. And if you'd like to come work with us, just go ahead and click on that link. And hopefully we'll see you soon. All righty. Bye-bye.